Oops, it's Monday the 8th of August 2023. In today's show, we are going over a bit of a tin pot performance in the Potteries. Liverpool crashed or cracked to Stoke City at the betting company name Stadium. With soft goals in each half, condemning us to our first defeat and our first away game of the season. I'm John Aspinall, the Seasides Podcast, match reaction show, Stoke City 2, Blackpool 0.
It's already changed the world. A small town from the north of England with a great tradition.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome back to the Seasides Podcast, match reaction show on a Monday evening at 8:30, Tim, not 8 p.m. As
I've just changed it. I've just changed it. I know I've got that. It's not even working.
What? Say it again?
I'm not sure I've got my mic. It's not even working.
Oh, it was. You're all horribly tinny now.
Oh, right. I'll put it back then.
Yeah, what are you doing?
Is that better?
Yeah, funnily enough, yeah, having the microphone at your mouth is miles better.
Well, it wasn't working last one, so I assumed it wasn't working again.
Need to turn you down, you're too loud.
You know what they say, never work in media, never work with children, animals, and lawyers that work on Lytham Road. It's right in your kissing out, Tim. It looks like a lollipop. You've gone from one extreme to the other. There you go. Right, welcome, Tim. Anyway, welcome, Nick. It's great to have you back. It's been a while.
It has, hasn't it? Bit of a sabbatical, yeah. It's good to be back, although I wish we were talking about a 2-0 win rather than the 2-0 defeat, but hey-ho.
Yeah. We've got a new presenter in the pod this evening of a different... not species, a different sex.
Well, maybe.
I better not be getting a visit off me tomorrow, Leanne. I do apologise.
I'll look after myself. You'll be getting it off me.
Leanne, right, it's great to have you on finally. We've had a couple of false starts, but you finally made it. So welcome to the pod. It's I think the ribbing from the ribbing from Tim, the veiled digs from Tim's forced your hand now, isn't it?
What do I call her?
I'm going to rewatch that anyway, just to see.
What was that, Tim?
Oh, behave.
Kevin Stewart of podcasting, we nicknamed it, didn't we?
Gemma says welcome, Leanne. The girls are all doing it for you this evening.
Thanks. Yay.
Do you know Gemma at all?
I'm here for the girls. That's why I said I want to be on. I know Gemma from Twitter. Yeah. That makes people sound like proper losers, doesn't it? Like, do you know such? Yeah. So, I think I have met Gemma actually once, I'm sure.
Yeah, I actually know her in real life. She sits 2 seats in front of me.
What, know her or like? Oh, right, okay.
Another lady, Antonio Simeone. Or is that a man? Is that a man?
That's a boy, Antonio. Antonia is a girl, yeah.
Right. I best not embarrass myself any further. Richard Watts says, good to see a new contributor. Thumbs up, Leanne.
Thank you. Might not be saying that in a bit.
Yeah, it's just a lone sign in this.
You'd be signing me, Perm.
Have we lost John? Has he gone all frozen on us?
Is he paused?
He's frozen, hasn't he?
Tim, you take over and tell us about your sexy hairdo.
Well, it's flopped, I think is the expression, isn't it? For those who are watching on YouTube, something to do with my attempt at playing football for the last hour before I came in. Still in me. He's back. He's back.
I don't know what happened then. That was a complete...
You froze, John.
Right. We are trying this new software anyway. Right, anyway, let's get on with the show. As always, when we get new presenters on, we always run them through a few Blackpool-related questions just to make sure they are Blackpool fans. But it's quite well known, so I'm sure that's not the case. Just to get to know the new people. Right, Leanne, so how long have you been a Blackpool fan for and why are you a Blackpool fan?
My dad started taking me when I was 3, 4, so just 10 years now. No, obviously a long time now. Love it. I wish I didn't sometimes. It takes over your life, doesn't it? But yeah, so my dad started taking me and my sister when we were young, and we've just been fans ever since, really.
I think so.
There's no exciting story.
No, I think everyone's comes from the dads, doesn't it? It
Yeah.
comes from the mothers. But Leanne, you could be breaking that chain, couldn't you, with your daughter?
I know, bless her. Yeah. Well, yeah, she's got no choice with me. She doesn't see her dad, so yeah, definitely I've started taking her.
Yeah.
And yeah, she seems to like it. She's 6 now. She has got additional needs, so sometimes it's like she's 2, 3, but yeah, she seems to like it. She sings the songs and watches them on YouTube and stuff as well. So I'm getting there slowly.
Another message from the ladies. I think we've doubled our
thanks,
listener base.
girls. It's nice.
I think we've doubled our listener base this year. I don't think we actually had any female viewers.
Thank you,
and
Helen.
listeners, apart from Leanne.
Yeah, me just giving it.
I want my sister as well. Right, so let's do 3 good, 3 bad. For any reason, Leanne, it can be just a true story or a bit of a laugh. So 3 good home matches from your memory.
Right. From memory, not sorry. Oh, did you say home then? Sorry.
Yeah, let's do home to start with.
Home. Okay. First one that springs to mind was early 90s against Tranmere Rovers in a cup game. We lost 3-0 at their ground. David Ayres had to go in goal. So obviously 3-0 at their ground, thought we were going to do rubbish, and we beat them 4-0. I think it was like 92, I want to say.
You quote this quite regularly, don't you?
It was, yeah, that really stands out for me. In 92, I was 10. So that one definitely. Liverpool at home in the Prem, because I never ever thought, like, I know we beat them as well, but even it was just surreal, the whole. I remember playing Man United as well in the Prem, and at half time we were winning. So even that was mental. I know we lost, but little things like that. I've not really got any exciting home stories. Away games, there's probably more, although I don't do as many anymore. But...
Nick, that was a famous, the John Aldridge incident, I think, wasn't it?
Yeah.
The Tranmere, yeah.
3-1 or something after we scored our first.
Yeah, he was giving it loads, and I remember Elton Wellesby at the time who did Granada Soccer Night, and I know he's an Evertonian, but he absolutely loved Tranmere and was giving it loads after that home leg. And then, yeah, we went and stuffed them at Bloomfield Road. I was at both games, and I remember going home and putting Granada Soccer Night on, and we got about 10 seconds, and you could just see how fuming Elton Wellesby was that Tranmere had got knocked out. Yeah, I remember that one well.
Leanne, away games, any 3 most memorable that you've been to, and why?
Forest away, obviously. That was just amazing. That's always my favourite. Liverpool away again, because as a Blackpool fan, as you guys know, it's one of those things where you... Sorry, I'm reading that. Elton Wellesby. Yeah, he is. Did he get sacked as well for being a perv or something? Was that the right guy?
Probably.
Yeah.
You'll get in
Liverpool
trouble on this, won't you, John? Is he the one who's the perv?
Well, we don't want any more litigation.
I know. Enough with one of us getting sued, please.
Is David saying that August 92? Is that the Tranmere game?
I think so.
Yeah. God, so I was 10, yeah. And Wembley, when we went into the Prem, because again, it was just, wasn't as good as Forest away, but it was just surreal. It was like one of those things, like, as if we're in the Premier League, as if.
Yeah. I think I was like that with my sister. We were like, is this actually happening?
It was weird, wasn't it? And it was also the hottest day ever.
Yeah, 42 degrees.
Yeah, it's good.
3 good, 3 bad past players.
Richard Kingston.
Good or bad?
Terrible. Scott Darton, poor thing. He was shit though, wasn't he?
I think he made it on our worst ever 11 list.
That wouldn't surprise me.
Wasn't happy with us putting that together. I remember him having a pop at us for putting that together.
This next one won't be popular, but he's one of my worst players ever. Ben Burgess.
I've got to say, I didn't like it when he played. I much preferred it when he was.
I mean, I've met him a few times. Lovely guy, but he just wasn't good enough for that side, in my opinion. So it wasn't that he was terrible. He'd have been better off lower league, but it just no. Used to get me really mad. Sorry.
Let's flip that on its positive head, best players that you've ever seen?
DJ Campbell.
Yeah.
Matt Jelks.
Naturally.
David Ayres. I'm getting evil looks now because I've said Matt Jelks. I loved him though. He was great, and we've never had, like, Steve Banks is a very popular keeper, isn't he? Was a popular keeper, still is. He's a lot of people's favourite, but for me, we'd never had a keeper that good. And he got into the squad by accident, didn't he? Because Rahubka got injured, a bit like Grimmy, if you like now. And it was just like, wow, he's really good. And I feel like had he played the whole of the Prem, we'd have stayed up. I'm glad we didn't, obviously now, but yeah.
Yeah, these things happen for a reason, don't they?
They do. So yeah, sorry, nothing funny there, but just yeah.
Yeah, let's move on to the present day then. Were you happy with the managerial appointment, Michael Appleton?
It didn't really bother me as much as it bothered others, to be honest. His track record isn't as bad as what people were saying. And once I'd sort of read up a little bit, I know his first time round at Blackpool wasn't great, but there was reasons for that, which I totally understand. So yeah, I want to give him a chance and see how he plays more attacking football, I feel, than Critch did already. So I'm quite excited to see what happens.
Okay, fair enough. And finally, how do you think we'll do this season?
I don't think we'll go down like some are saying. I don't think we're going to get in the playoffs or anything because we need to sign some players, but that's another whole conversation. But I think we'll mid-table. I'll be happy with that. I don't think we'll go down.
Yeah. Right. That's all about you, Leanne, in a nutshell.
Can we go to someone else now? Because I'm sweating now.
Right, the pressure's off now. Let's move Let's over to news. Got a bit of news. We've got a news. Oh, Siri's just said something to me. We've got a bit of news coming in today or over the weekend. The first bit was Owen Dale's gone to Portsmouth. Why have I made myself big there? We don't want that. Is anyone bothered that with Owen Dale's gone, Tim? Do this somehow?
I think what we're finding since Appleton took over is that he's quite. I think he's turning out to be quite a decisive manager. I think once he decides that somebody isn't good enough, you just won't see him again. And the reality is, we took a bit of a punt on him. I don't think it's quite worked out. If we're going to survive this season, because it's second season syndrome, isn't it? If we're going to survive this season, we've got to improve, and we're not going to improve with him in the team. And that's harsh but true. And I think we saw from the comments Appleton made on Saturday, which I no doubt will come on to, but he does not take prisoners, does he? He doesn't look like he'll take prisoners. He doesn't speak like he'd take prisoners. And I just think, he's going to say it as it is. And if you don't like it, then tough.
Has anyone listened to his post-match reaction on Tangerine TV? He was actually saying he was giving some of the players a bit of shit at half-time.
I didn't listen to it because I had to rewatch the match, which was bad enough.
The whole thing?
No, 74 minutes I had to switch off, so I'm sorry.
I only watched the highlights. That was just unbearable.
I did see his thing and I was going to listen to it, but I couldn't bear it after watching that. But what I have seen of him so far, you're right there. He doesn't be like, to me, I don't like referring to Critch all the time in the past, but he never used to own up and take responsibility when someone had been crap. There was always some like, oh, we didn't do too bad. Yeah, we did. We were rubbish. Whereas I feel like Appleton's a bit more sort of, he says it how it is. And I like that because that's what they need. If they play shit, give them a bollocking. Am I allowed to swear?
Yeah.
Of course you fucking can, yeah.
Just making sure. But yeah, I feel like he does that and that's what they need. So,
well, the PNE away game being one particular case of Critchley not calling a spade, he just didn't lay into them whatsoever, did he? I think he kind of really missed the mark there, didn't he?
You lose credibility, I think, with the fan base. If you, which Critchley did, say we played okay and we deserve to get some out of it, when you clearly don't. I mean, I've actually not watched it back either, but I think, to paraphrase him, I think Appleton's basically said no team of mine is going to play like we did in the first half. And that's what you want to me as a fan, that's what you want to hear. You want to hear it the way that you saw it. And, there was some performances out there in the first half on Saturday that were unacceptable.
Steve Hutchins just put something thought-provoking in the comments. I like a straight talking, but I'm concerned he may lose the dressing room just given the mentality of modern-day players. Nick, it's a fair point. That's something I'd as I was listening to what he was saying.
Yeah, it's an interesting one, but I'd agree with what Leanne and Tim have said, that I like that he's honest and it's refreshing. Like you say, with Critch, sometimes I think, was he watching the same game as us with what had come out with post-match? And we saw it at half-time, didn't we? You know, we said during the first half, this is really disjointed, it's not working. And he could see it as well, and he's not... You know, if that had been Critchley, we'd have probably come out with the same 11 and wouldn't have made a sub until 70th minute or something. Well, it's too late. Yeah, whereas with Appleton, he's like, that. I'm not happy with that. You're coming off at 45 minutes and I'll make a change.
I agree. I think that's what he needs to do as well. And I did hear a story once where they played really bad. I don't know who it was against. And they played really bad the first half. And they came into the dressing room at half-time expecting to get an absolute bollocking. And apparently they didn't. It was, well, you're not doing too bad. And they were all looking at each other apparently like, what? Whereas I feel like Appleton will proper get in there, and I feel like they need that. If I wasn't performing at work and my manager pulled me in to say, Leanne, you're not doing this right, you're not doing that right, I'd think, right, I'll fucking show you. And especially being a footballer, because my job isn't in front of thousands of people. Theirs is. You're not going to want to play rubbish. So my attitude would be, right, I'll show you.
Yeah, I think it's a fine balance, isn't it, between bollocking them and bigging them up and, you know, being a bit nicer. But yeah, time will tell, I guess. Next piece of news, we're going to be having this digital app, apparently, with our season tickets to get in. Tim, I think, did you advocate this at one point where you don't have to physically bring a card, you can have an app and it's the NFC?
Yeah, I mean, during the sort of boycott years, I did go to AFC Fad a little bit, mainly because Sam was going and he was doing the match commentary. So I used to just jump in the car with him, and it's more before they moved to the new stadium. And but when they moved to the new stadium, they brought this app out where you can just pay for your ticket, download it to your phone, straight in, no messing about, no going to the club shop, none of that malarkey. I think more for one-off purchases, it works really well than season tickets, because to be honest with the season ticket, you've got a card, it doesn't really matter, does it? As long as you, but you know, if you've got one-off purchase, you're straight on the website, download it to your phone, you're straight in, and you see all these queues, don't you, outside those little white booths before games, and you're thinking, you know, how 20th century, and it's about time we brought it up to speed. And it's great news that I think they're starting in the south, aren't they? Is it for Swansea, and then rolling it around the stadium? So listen, we're seeing. I think what we see is, and I know they take a lot of shit at the board sometimes, but what you're seeing is that these are all things that should have been in place 10 years ago that aren't and weren't. And you've just got to you've got to tick off boxes all the time. You know, I said when we were in, we started, but it was the, you know, the list was like, you know, as long as your arm and as long as everybody's arm in the bloody stadium, there was that many things to do. And this is one thing that we've got it. You know, it's starting to happen now. It's about time. Most clubs are doing it, I think, and it's great to see that, you know, we are.
Yeah, as you've said there, there's a very long list of things to do, not done by the previous incumbents, but let's not mention them again. I'll give myself Timism there.
Incumbents, you're on the verge, I think, with that one.
Good word, that.
Incumbents, isn't it?
Incumbents, you can have plural.
Incumbents.
Okay. I won't
give yourself the horn, John.
Oh, yeah.
That's dodgy, doesn't it?
Swiftly moving on. Finally, we've had an ABFTT that Jimmy's mural is about to get touched up by Rob Purden. I don't know if anyone else has heard that, but I think he's kind of the perfect man for the job, Leanne, isn't he?
Yeah, he's so good. I saw him actually last week, and I'm not, because he's not been on Twitter. I'm not on Facebook. I'm on Instagram and Twitter. And I used to love his posts and his drawings, and because he's not been on social media, I've not seen him for ages. So when I saw him, I was like, oh my God, Where are you? But yeah, when I heard that, I was pleased because he's so talented. So definitely.
I've actually got a framed photo of him downstairs. Not of him.
Of him?
This
With
podcast
hearts
getting
next
weirder
to
and
it.
weirder, isn't it? But yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing that anyway. Hoping some of you...
Actually, when I went to football tonight, I actually drove past deliberately just to see whether I could spot any changes, but I couldn't see any. Obviously it's only the rear view mirrors I've drove past, but it's still got the rocky eyes. But I've every faith that Rob will sort it out.
It looks like I shouldn't say this, but I'm gonna. It looks like, have you seen like sort of vampire films where their eyes go white and they're gonna like kill you? It looks a bit like that, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Someone said called him a zombie, didn't they?
Yes, like zombie weird stuff.
Get Rob on the case anyway. He'll sort it out. Right,
Rob
let's move
will
on to the Rob will sort it. Let's move on to the Stoke game. That's what everyone's here for this evening. Lineup. So because that brief cock up before, I've lost my screen share. So just bear with me for 10 seconds. Dum-de-dum-de-dum. There. Right. Blackpool lined up as follows against Stoke. Anyone notice there's a bit more colour now in this?
It's very pretty.
Yeah, after me calling it boring and monochrome on the last pod, so I've obviously listened and taken note of my critique. Anyway, Blackpool lined up as follows: Grimshaw, Connolly, Ekpiteta, Williams, Thompson, Fiorini, Carey, Virtue, Bowler, Yates, and Medine lining up in a 4-3-3. Tim, we'll come to you first with your thoughts on that.
You know what I'm going to say before I even start.
Where's Dougal? Yeah.
Where the effing hell was Dougal? That's when I saw the team. That was actually my thought process. I'm not just saying it for effect. I couldn't believe, and particularly bearing in mind our accredited journalist suggested that he would start. I took that as gospel that he would nail down a starting spot. So clearly he's not picking up the vibe in the interviews, is he? So no, I was very, very, in all seriousness, I was very disappointed he wasn't starting. I just felt the makeup of the. I know. Obviously, hindsight's a wonderful thing, but I think you look at that three, and I just don't think there's anybody who's going to sit in the way that we want them to. The other thing obviously there was the big discussion, wasn't there, about whether Patino would start, whether he would throw him in from the beginning. I think most of us thought it was probably not going to do it, but equally, I can't say. I mean, I was with Nick when the news came in, and we were a bit disappointed, weren't we? I think we were a bit underwhelmed with the starting lineup. Was probably my overriding thought process at the time.
Okay, Nick. So you and Tim went on Pulton bus tours, I guess. How was that?
Yeah, it was good. I was in the Thatched for just gone 9:30. So, and then we stopped in Sandbach on the way for quite a few beers. So we were, well on our way by the time we got into our seats, because we had a couple in the ground as well. So.
And how I didn't match Nick, by the way. I'd only been at that top end before. It was
that was lovely, yeah.
Proper Tory heartland for Tory Corner. And
he was loving it, wasn't he?
How are the stewards, by the way? I've heard the stewards weren't very kind.
Oh, they were a nightmare last
time.
They
were just a bit Jobsworth again. There was two coloured tickets. I think there was a black ticket and green ticket, depending on which section you're in. And I saw a few people, so at half time, they've obviously come down to have a pint or whatever. So the stewards have seen them, where they've come from, let them pass them to go down the steps. Then when they've come back, they said, I want to see your ticket. And they wouldn't let people back to the seat without showing that. We had something similar at Fulham.
I had the same last year. Sorry to interrupt, Nick. I had exactly the same last year when I had 2 pints in my hand, and I think my tickets were in my coat pocket. And the guy was like stopping me. And obviously, I was there with Eddie. I was like, I am fucking coming past, mate. You know.
I don't get that. I've never been to an away game like recently where you have to show your tickets, because normally you just
you're in,
sit anywhere. Yeah. Well, not even at the beginning, because they sometimes they go, "Oh, can I see your tickets?" Like, "Oh, I'm sorry, I'm over there." That's what I say anyway. Hiding my pint in my coat so I can sneak it in. But I don't get it because, like you said, it's jobs worthy, isn't it? It's just like, just shut up as long as they're not causing trouble. Leave them be.
Yeah, I could see one guy. He'd obviously gone to the loo or whatever, and he was coming back, and his kids were like down at the front, and he was pointing, saying, "That's my son there." And this steward was just having none of it for a good couple of minutes. In the end, another steward came over and sort of said to this other one, "Look, just
That's what I mean.
leave it and let him through because people are getting wound up."
See, I've been to a lot of away games as well, which sounds awful for littering, but I've put my ticket on the floor when I've got in.
Yeah.
Because you've no need for it.
Yeah.
So I'd be buggered if they said that to me.
Yeah, absolutely. So, Leanne, any comments on the team? I believe you're not a massive Dougal fan, so you were quite pleased with that.
Right. Do you know what? No, everyone thinks I hate him. I don't hate him. In League One, he was brilliant. I loved him. And he was just like a breath of fresh air. He was running. He was just ace. I loved him. And last season, I just don't feel that I just feel like you need to step it up a gear like a potato has, and he hasn't. So I know he's very popular with fans, and it's a really unpopular opinion. But when I see that he's not starting, it makes me smile. I'm sorry, Tim.
It's all about opinions.
Yeah.
We saw the results of not playing Dougal in the first half. There's no doubt going on.
I just don't get, right. He's too. I was talking to a couple of the lads in the pub about this, and they kind of do understand where they're coming from. So to me, when you look at the sort of Adam, Southern, and Vaughan days, to me, Vaughan was the best of the three, followed very closely by Adam. Southern was the weakest of the three, but together it worked. And I feel like they explained that to me as if he was a Southern. And he does do some good stuff. I'm not saying every time he touches the ball he's crap. I just don't think he's got. I like exciting players. Like, that's why DJ Campbell's one of my favourite ever players, because he used to get the ball and it was like, woo, what's he going to do? A bit like Bowler, but Bowler's annoying me at the moment because it's just annoying me. That's another story. But I just feel like I need to see more from Dougal at this level. I've not seen that yet.
I mean, the big thing about football,
sorry, go on, Tim.
It's the sum of its parts, isn't it? So you've got to get the balance right. And what I was saying, and when we were in the ground, we were discussing it, weren't we, Nick? The balance was all wrong for me. They just, you need someone who's going to sit in there and break up play, win the ball, and allow players like Bowler and your Yateses and your Patinos when he comes on to do a bit. And so there's always in a good team, there's always somebody who does that job. So you go back, if you go right back to 1966, you had Nobby Stiles doing that job for England. As you've mentioned, Leanne, we had Keith Southern doing it for Blackpool. And there's always somebody. You go through all the teams. Liverpool, when they were brilliant in the 80s, Steve McMahon did it. And there's always somebody who does that, who just puts the tackle in, wins the ball, and gives it to somebody who's a better footballer than them. And that's what I like about Dougal. It's not that I think he's the best footballer on the pitch. He isn't the best footballer on the pitch. But in a team that, unless we've got Kevin Stewart fit, which is like,
Leanne turning up to the podcast, apparently.
Yes, it's like that regular. Unless we've got Kevin Stewart fit, for me, or based on the squad we've got, he's got to play. Now, if Kevin Stewart's fit, then there's a different discussion, different conversation.
Yeah, I get that. I do agree with that.
Or when we get Gabriel back, you can probably put Connolly in there. Yeah, because you do need that, and it's good that, because I think last season central midfield, and I get it, because I think we kind of had the two holding ones in central midfield last season. It was a bit, we didn't create anything through the middle. It was always just give it the wide play or give it Josh Bowler and hope for the best. Whereas, I suppose in theory with Patino, Fiorini, Carey, we should have more in the centre of midfield, and then whether it's Dougal or Connolly, they can do that kind of breaking up the play and then let the other two flair players do their bit, hopefully.
Yeah. I feel like we're missing Gabriel, if I'm honest, at the moment.
Massively.
I'm liking Connolly, though, as well. Like, he just proper gets stuck in. Yeah, Tim, I do agree with what you've just said. Actually, I know what you mean there about Dean. I don't know why. I feel like he just needs a bit more oomph. I'm getting proper slated on that chat. It's only Tom Main though, I think, so I'm not too bothered about him.
He knows
yeah,
nothing about football anyway, doesn't Tom?
I know. Apparently, Leanne's clueless. I've been told that before. No, Tom's rubbish. He's not even from Blackpool. Get lost.
John, we've sent John to sleep by the look of it.
It's frozen.
He's well away. Yeah.
It was the Dougal talk. I told you.
So if we while he's off, presumably he's going to come back on at some point. Here we go. Is this him back in the room any second now? Reasonable turnout, Nick, do you think? Bearing in mind everything that was going on?
Yeah, I think
it's early season.
A few people. Yeah, there's still a lot of people on holiday. Obviously, financially with what's going on in the world, people are probably having to pick and choose the games a little bit more. I think there was about 1,500 there. So maybe a little bit disappointing that we didn't get to 2K. But like I say, there's a few of my mates who would probably normally go. A few of them were on holiday. A couple of others are probably going to do Burnley instead if they can get a ticket. So I think it's just where we are at the moment with what's going on financially and a few people are still away. So, I mean, it was, the fans that were there certainly got behind the team. As we got into the ground, there was the new Charlie Patino chant going on under the stand. I mean, I've never known a player have so many songs before he's even kicked a ball for us.
Sick of hearing that.
I don't know if it's because he's got a fancy surname or he's signed for, if he was called, I don't know, Alex Bagthorpe, I don't think anyone would be bothered. But to be fair, though, it was really catchy, wasn't it, Tim? And it was going non-stop for a good probably 40 minutes.
Well, so we got it going on the coach on the way, didn't we? And and that, we had a little lad in front of us who didn't know the words, so we got him up. We got him up on our WhatsApp group, didn't we? And handed the phone over to him so he could pick it up as we went along. So I think it's probably. I think it actually made the Daily Mirror today. That didn't it? The fact that a guy who made a 20-25 minute debut, whatever it was, has already got the fan base singing, and it was quite widespread, wasn't it, in the game as well? It wasn't like there's just a few people singing it. Everybody had sort of bought into the, let's give him a massive welcome to Blackpool, and I think based on his post-match comments, he must be thinking, how does that happen? Because it's not. Listen, it doesn't happen anywhere, that does it? I've never known Blackpool fans make up a song about a player before they've even got on the pitch and kicked a ball. It's incredible, really.
Yeah.
It's good. It's the hype about him, isn't it? There's been loads and loads of good things said about him, so I think it's exciting.
And then we got to kick off.
Yeah, can we just gloss over the game? It was,
and everyone was wishing that they'd not found the ticket and stayed downstairs.
Yeah, it was. It was hard going that first half, wasn't it, Tim? I think you said to me at about 20 minutes, it's just disjointed. We weren't defending well. We were getting overrun in midfield. I mean, the thing is, going to Stoke, whenever you play them, it's always a tough game. They're a physical side. They're well established, well drilled. They don't play, I wouldn't say a particularly exciting brand of football, but they're well drilled and well organised. And you've got to be on top of it to get anything there. And we just weren't really, across the park. I think midfield was where we were losing it, and then that was putting pressure on the defence. The likes of Marv, he had an uncharacteristically poor game. His distribution wasn't great, and his defending wasn't great. And sometimes with Marv, he will have the odd stray pass, but then he'll make up with it with an amazing tackle. Defensively he's brilliant, but he was having a poor game, and I think it just spread across the pitch. We weren't creating a great deal, and it wasn't really a massive surprise for me when we went 1-0 down. They'd hit the bar, hadn't they? Came from a corner, and we really struggled to clear it. A couple of attempts. I think Carey was trying to bring it out, and it went straight to one of their players, and he's cracked it off the bar. And I think on the goal, we gave them far too much space Connolly didn't really get tight onto his man, and he could literally, time to pick a cross out for the guy at the far post, and again, poor marking at the far post, and we end up going 1-0 down. I don't know what you thought, Tim, but it kind of, I wouldn't say it was coming necessarily, but similarly, I wasn't surprised, and we hadn't really done much up at the other end, had we?
Well, we had a couple of chances, and I think there's one where I've forgotten who it was who got free on this right hand side of the box, and managed to completely miss the target, which was a bit frustrating. Just going back to the Epiteta point, do you think he's missing Uncle Richard? I mean,
massively.
I thought that today, yeah.
I was going to say that. To me, I obviously rewatched the game, and yeah, I love him. I think he's great, and I feel like he's really missing him. I feel like Keogh gives him that extra bit of confidence, and he made some bad mistakes. And I feel like, I don't know, to me, Keogh's a very calm, cool player, and I feel like he's got a voice on the pitch.
I wonder whether it's psychological in that Ekpitessa's now the senior partner of the centre back partnership, isn't he? Where with Richard Keogh there, he's got somebody who with far more experience, who's no doubt talking all through the game anyway, and
confidence as well, isn't it?
With his own game rather than having to worry about other people.
Yeah, but it's confidence as well. I think he probably sort of spurs him on a little bit and talks to him. I've noticed when they're playing, he is a very calm player, Keogh. So he's probably reassuring everybody all the time at the back. To me, that's why, I wasn't impressed with Epiteta. And to me, both goals, when I watched them, the defenders just looked slow. Like all of them. There was even a Connolly. I like Connolly, but he was next to second goal, I think it was. And they're too slow. They need to get in there. And there was a few bad mistakes by Epiteta, to be fair. But
the other highlight or low light of the first half was Medine getting substituted after 15 minutes or so. And to be honest, at the time it happened, I didn't realise that there'd been a sort of confrontation between him and Appleton as he came off. And we were obviously, relatively speaking, we were down the other end of the pitch, weren't we? But from what we can gather, he wasn't too impressed about being substituted, and they had cross words. So I don't know whether anybody, what you picked up more on it, watching it back, Leanne.
Watching it back, I like I said, I didn't watch the game live like I normally do when I can't go. I thought the same, but he needed to go off. He was struggling. It was obvious. But I do feel like we missed him massively. I know Medine's one of them anywhere people love him or people hate him. And for me, it made a massive difference. There was no height up front. So there was some great balls in. And there was no one there because they're all short. And he holds his space so well. And I feel like we missed him massively when he went off.
Yeah.
I think Appleton said afterwards. Sorry, Tim. Appleton said afterwards that Medine was frustrated at having to come off, and they'd shaken hands about it. And the thing is, I agree with them. With a team like Stoke as well, you need a bit of presence up front. But if he's injured,
he's got to go off if he's injured.
Without wanting to upset Mitch, he isn't the most mobile player anyway. And if he's injured, you're carrying a bit of a passenger, aren't you? So it was the right thing to do, but it did leave us, a bit short up front, unfortunately.
People say this. Oh, sorry. People say, "Oh, Medine's not right because he's so mobile. He's slower. He's this. He's that." That's my opinion on Dougal in midfield. Yet people are so quick to slag Medine off. I feel like when you've got two decent wingers who can feed it to Medine properly, because I don't think Bowler does that. Bowler's very greedy. I do feel like Bowler and Connolly play quite well together. But to me, Bowler, when he's got the ball, he's not passing it. He's running and trying to score, which is fine, but he doesn't do it often enough for me. So he needs to learn to pass it. So to me, Medine is massive up front. And if people think Dougal is so good because he's cool, he's this, he's that, he's not as good as the other two. Well, to me, that's Medine up front. So I don't get what everyone's problem with Medine is, because he does that job.
I think we're not prolific with any of the strikers, are we? And
no, I think the view that the alternative view is that if you're going to play three up front, they need to be more mobile. Whereas against the 4-4-2,
So why was Ben Burgess so popular then? Because he wasn't. He was crap. He couldn't run for shit, could he? But then he was so popular because he banged them in when he needed to. And whilst people argue Medin's similar, to me, he's not. He's better because he does hold the players very well and he creates space for the forwards.
Anyway, we get to half time, and I think, I don't know what both your thoughts were, but I think we were almost reasonably lucky only to be 1-0 down, perhaps. I don't know did you think? Were you quite happy that we were still in the game, Nick?
Yeah, I mean, we had that. I missed a chance, didn't I? Because I'd gone down to get a pie, but there was the chance where Bowler had a shot and it fell to Carey, and I don't know if he got caught in two minds a bit whether to have a shot. I thought he might have hit it first time, but he waited for a split second, then ended up kind of putting a sort of cross shot in, didn't he? That Jerry threw himself at, and unfortunately just couldn't get enough of a connection. But yeah, I can't say we did enough to be level at half time. So 1-0 was probably fair enough, really, overall.
And I think most certainly from our section of the black seats that we were in, there was calls for half-time changes, and we. I didn't actually think personally that Appleton would change it at half-time. I think I convinced myself that he would adopt Critchley mode and leave it to at least 65 minutes. But we saw, from my perspective, quite a decisive managerial decision being taken at half-time, with Virtue being taken off and replaced by our water carrier, Dougal. So I know Leanne will have been impressed at that half-time change. What did you think, Nick?
Second half was better, wasn't it, though?
Yeah, with margin it was, yeah. And I think it did need to happen because we were just getting overrun in midfield. And, you know, he said as much afterwards, didn't he, that first half isn't the way he wants his Blackpool team to play. So, you know, I kind of like that he's not, because a lot of managers would, like you say, just give it another 15 minutes of the second half, and there didn't see much point in doing that because I don't think anything would have changed. So he's made that call quite early. And it was better. We did look a bit, you know, we had a bit more of a spell of possession, even though we weren't necessarily, you know, creating loads and loads of chances. But for me, yeah, it was the right thing to do because we were just getting overrun.
Oh, he's back. He's back in the room.
Oh, hello.
He's back.
You had a good
Where
poo.
have you been?
What's going on here? I think I have to bin it off. Have I dispersed for quite a while?
Yeah, about 20 minutes.
Right, this new software's getting binned off after this. Right, where were we?
We've coped admirably without.
I've got them both to agree with me that they both think Dougal's shit, and Medin's great.
We've just been doing a eulogy to Gary Medin for the last 15 minutes.
Oh, where's Mitch when you need him?
Oh, he's on. He's
in the chat. Don't worry.
Oh, is he?
We're into the second half, John. We're just discussing bringing Dougal off and bringing Virtue off.
Dougal
on.
Virtue's come in for quite a bit of stick, hasn't he? From the comments I've been reading, saying he's not done enough.
I feel like he's been out a long time, hasn't he? I don't mind Virtue. I feel like he just needs a bit more confidence at the moment, but it's like, you know, do we give him 3 years to give him the Jerry Yates confidence that he apparently needs, or do we do it quick?
I don't think he's yet shown, for me, that he's got that extra bit that you need to perform in the Championship. I think he's a good League One player, and he'll score some goals for you. I just don't think he's got what we need from all our players is ball retention. I just think he gives the ball away too much. And I liked him. He was. I wouldn't say he's one of my favourite players, but he was a player I used to like, and I thought and I missed when he was injured. But because I felt that he was the one midfielder who could score some goals, but I don't see him doing that in the Championship. I think he could do it in League One, but I don't think he's got.
He did put some good crosses in, to be fair. But yeah, I kind of agree with that.
He did. To be fair, at Reading, it was his cross that Bowler's first time shot that we then that Connolly then followed up on. So listen, I'm not going to have too much of a down on him. For me, it was just that three. The three didn't work, and something had to give, and he was probably the weakest link of the three.
Yeah.
So Dougal's made a positive difference when he's come on.
Unfortunately. I'm joking. Yeah, not massively. He did a few all right things, didn't he?
I think with Dougal,
I still need the wow factor from him.
I think Leanne, I think scoring those 2 goals in that playoff final, I think it's raised expectations from him.
I've said this before.
Left foot, right foot, and people were kind of expecting more of that, and it was a bit of a flash in the pan, wasn't it? I mean, to be fair, I think he should be scoring more goals as well. You want at least 3 or 4 from your CDM, don't you? What was it, right at the back end of the season when he scored?
I want some decent passes to Medine so we can add him in.
Medine,
he's not doing that.
I don't know. With Medine had another kind of half chance, didn't he, in the Stoke game?
Yeah.
The highlights that I watched. So Medine's not beyond criticism from me. He had a bit of a powered up header in the Reading game as well.
We said that when you were off, that he didn't really want to go off. It was more of Appleton's call.
But John, how many
Made him
goals?
go off.
How many goals did Didier Deschamps score? How many goals?
True. Makalele was the master water carrier, wasn't he? So
yeah. I'm not saying he's at that level, but
point.
he's our version of that, and they never scored either.
Yeah, fair enough. So the second goal again came from the right-hand side. The first goal, which we've not really discussed, very soft defending. I noticed that Corbeau completely losing his man on the first goal and reacting, oh shit, I better do something when the ball's already in the box. Their second goal, again's come from the right-hand side of the pitch. We've not reacted again. And any coincidence, Tim, that both these goals coming from the right-hand side without a specialist right back in there?
Possibly, although I think that's slightly harsh on Connolly. I think it could be just coincidence, if I'm honest. But what we have equally, perhaps endorsing your point to a degree, is what we have got on the left side is a very tenacious player who knows how to close down and do his job. And maybe Connolly's just sitting off a little bit more, and again because he's out of position. And I think I can't remember who somebody in one of our chats was saying, was sort of comparing Connolly to Danny Coyd a bit by saying that it might have been on AVFTT, I can't remember now, but almost saying Connolly's a little bit of a victim of his own versatility, and he could end up not playing in his best position because he's got this ability to play others. And I hope that was Danny Coyd's downfall, if you want, at the end of the day, wasn't it? They never quite got to play in his preferred role because he was always, he could play.
Because he's a versatile player.
Yeah, and Connolly is, and so Connolly ends up slotting in and doing a good job. Where if he was played in his preferred position, he could do I'm sure he would do an excellent job week in, week out. So it's one of those. It's the old conundrum, isn't it? What do you do?
As long as Connolly avoids a pitch roller, he might do all right in the rest of his career. 2-footed tackle from the pitch roller took out Danny Coyd.
Or avoid Medine as well if you're Keshi, because he got flattened by Medine.
You don't want big gas falling on top of you, do you? So, Nick, the game played out. Was there any sense that we were going to get back into the game after Stoke had gone 2-0 up, or was it a game set and match?
Yeah, not really. Obviously, we had Charlie Patino coming on for his debut, which was probably the highlight of the second half.
Did he impress? What was he like?
Yeah, I mean, he didn't have loads of the ball, but I remember there was one bit where he kind of just dropped his shoulder and turned, and it looked effortless, and everybody sort of went, "Wow," because there wasn't a lot else to cheer about, really. And I'll be interested to see whether he starts him tomorrow night, actually, and we can get to see a little bit more of him. But yeah, there wasn't really a great deal. I wasn't thinking we were going to we were going to get back into it at any point. Really, it was. I mean, second half was better than the first, but still, we didn't really. I can't say we deserved to get anything out of the game.
Do you know who's it was sharing that picture on the coach? And it was a young lad and a picture taken with Patino, wasn't it? And Patino looked like Juninho did when he played for Middlesbrough. He looked about 12 years old and about 5'4", and then he couldn't.
Yeah.
Do you not think they all look that young now, though?
No, probably.
I do. It shows when you're getting old, doesn't it? Because they all look fucking 12.
Coppers. Whenever you see Coppers, oh, he looks young. Doesn't he?
Yeah, I say that. How old are you? Old enough to be a copper?
But actually, it was a bit tall. When he came on, he was a bit taller than I was expecting.
Yeah.
So I don't know whether he's 6 foot, but he must be 5'10" or 5'11". But it's probably because he was leaning forward with this lad. As you do when you lean into a picture when you're a bit taller. But yeah, I genuinely thought he was going to be sort of. And so I was quite. That was when we came on. I thought, gosh, he's actually got a bit more physical presence about him than I was expecting.
He looks very, very comfortable on the ball, doesn't he? For the short time he was on the ball, on the pitch, he just, I think he's going to make it look effortless, which is, the sign of a good player, isn't it?
Need that.
Do you think he'll be playing tomorrow night then, Nick? And is anyone going to that game tomorrow? Nick, are you going?
I don't know yet. Quite possibly. I'll speak to Jim tomorrow and make a call. I think he might start. I think there'll be quite a few changes, won't there? I expect he'll probably start Maxwell. We'll maybe see Thornley, CJ, or one or two others if they've not been shipped out on loan by then. I think we'll see Patina.
Speaking of Thornley, Tim, I think he should be starting games. I don't think Williams should be starting, particularly with Ekpateta as shaky as he is, and Thornley's got a bit more experience. And I think Thornley's been given a real bum deal by.
I agree with you there.
And a lot of supporters seem to completely disregard him. He's very, very rarely let Blackpool down whenever and he's come in at very difficult situations. Leanne, you're in the same court as me.
Yeah, well,
I agree with you.
We were discussing this, albeit Thornley didn't come in the conversation. In saying we felt, I think it was when you were off, John. We felt that Ekpateta as probably when he's with Keogh is the junior partner, and I think he's probably more relaxed as a result. Where my gut reaction was when he's got Williams alongside him, who's still a bit of a novice himself. He's the senior partner in the pairing. And it's giving him an added level of responsibility he's not used to having, where he's not just having to focus on his game, but he's also have to focus on other people's games, which normally is left to Keogh to sort. And maybe it's only speculation, but we've seen quite a few stray balls from Marv, haven't we, in the start of the season, particularly when he's playing it out to the right, where it's come up short and has been intercepted. He's almost like telegraphing his passes, and he's better than that. And I'm sure he'll come through it, but he has looked. He's looked like he's got the sheriff next to him again.
Yeah.
Do you remember that?
It'd be interesting to see the team tomorrow. Sorry, John.
Yeah,
I just if it's me, I'm not bothered about the cup, which sounds bad, but play a week or 11, bit of a run out, concentrate on the league.
I feel sorry for Thornley because I think he's going to start in this game, and he's not. For me, he's not the sort of player that should be binned off and just playing these crappy Carabao Cup games.
But if he plays well, he might get a place Saturday. You don't know.
Yeah, true. But yeah,
I agree with you though. I prefer him. I'm not a big Williams fan already.
No,
fucking knobber.
And I got widely ridiculed in our little WhatsApp group for my suggestion that we go 4-4-2 in the Stoke game. But as Nigel Farage addressed the EU council when he said, when I said 4-4-2, you all laughed at me, and I have to say, you're not laughing now, are you? So I think we should go 4-4-2. I just don't think we're good enough. This 4-3-3 formation. I think we're too.
But if you listen, if going back to Sean's comments, Appleton will never play 4-4-2. He'll stick with 4-3-3, even if we get whooped. and I do think if we play one holding and two attacking midfielders in that three in some away games, we are going to take some hell of a beating, to coin the Norwegian commentators.
Norwegian commentators,
1981 for those of a certain vintage.
But like Tom says in the comments, though, Barrow and no Mugs, they've had a really good start, haven't they? I think they beat Stockport on the opening day, and beat Bradford at the weekend, I think it was. He was certainly Bradford are one of the favourites for that division, so they'll be full of confidence, So,
and they've got good support behind them as well. I think tomorrow night as well, they've got a few coming down, and no doubt they'll be on the pop on the prom in the on the Gold Coast tomorrow in the sunshine.
Nice weather.
Scum run,
yeah. Right, let's get some visitors. You've got me thinking of Grox, Tim. Let's get some listeners' comments on tweet. So I did go onto Twitter and said, what do you think of the game? Jim Scrivener said, we need a midfield enforcer to lightweight. Tim, that one's to you first, I think, given...
Yeah, well, I think it comes back to the discussions that we've had. You can perm any one of Dougal and Stewart and Connolly for that role. Connolly's out on other duties at the moment on the right-hand side. Get Gabriel back, that brings another option in. But he's right. Yeah, I mean, we didn't have one in the first half, and Stoke were able to. It's almost like we said to Stoke, we know what you're good at, and get on with it, and we won't stop you. And we needed to be cleverer than that, and I think it comes back to we've got to have somebody sitting in there who's just going to break up. And there's three players at the club can do it. Two of them are fit, one isn't, and it's got to be one of those two at this moment in time for me.
Yeah, Nick, you can take this one from Matt Smith, our old friend Matt. Matt's taking a sabbatical from the pod this season. I guess he's going to be not going to many games, I think he said. So hopefully he'll be back soon. But Matt's just said it reminds me of Cardiff. Lots to learn from some players in the gaffer. Needs 3 quality players and we'll be okay.
Yeah, we got bullied a bit against them, didn't we? And yeah, there were a lot of similarities. And like Matt says, we probably need 3 quality players and we'll be okay. And I think, Michael Appleton has kind of made it clear that he wants to bring some more players in, whether that's going to be permanent or loans. I suppose we'll have to see. It might depend with what happens with Josh Bowler, possibly. I believe we've made another bid for the lad at Chef Wednesday again today. I was reading just before we came on the pod. So there are going to be a couple going out. He's had those conversations with those players, hasn't he? So we're going to get a couple in. So by the end of the transfer window, we're going to look a bit different. And obviously the key is the ones who come in, we don't need squad players. We need first 11 players. And Michael Appleton said as much. So hopefully the board can deliver on it. And I think, when you get those in, it can look a lot different, can't it? And we're only 2 games in, so let's not have too much of a meltdown over things. Look at where we started under Critchley. After 6, 7, 8 games, it was a disaster, wasn't it? And we're only 2 games in. We've won 1. We've lost a tough one away at Stoke. It's not an easy place to go. So let's see where we're at the end of the window, and hopefully we'll be okay.
The voice of reason there, Nick Smith. Oh, thank God Nick's back. Right, Leon, you can have the next one. We need a captain or organiser on the pitch from Chris Shaw.
I'm never a fan of a goalkeeper. I know, Maxwell's not been playing, but I'm not a fan of a goalkeeper being a captain. I feel like Keogh, when he's back, would be a decent captain. I feel like Medina would be a good captain.
Who was the captain, actually, on Saturday? Who was the captain?
Absolutely no idea.
Yeah.
Was it Marv?
I would have thought it was Marv. He has been before, hasn't he?
Yeah.
Not captain material, is he? I'd given it to Connolly, I think.
Yeah, I was thinking Connolly would make a good captain.
What about Dougal? You all love Dougal.
I don't think he's a captain, though.
He's not.
No. You need someone with a gob, I think, as a captain. So for me, Keogh, Medina. I'd be the bloody best captain ever. Oi, Dougal, you shit, what are you doing? Soon score then again. One in left foot, right foot. Yeah, I feel like Keogh or Medine, maybe.
Yeah, but they'd have to play Medine then, wouldn't we?
Yeah, if he wasn't too busy trying to get the balls from Dougal's shit passage. Yeah.
Let's move on. Tim, you can take the next one. It's from Mitchell Blackmore. Could get toxic quickly for Appleton. That Stoke team was 100% beatable today. Too much long ball and everyone just gives it to Bowler. I'd love to know the other candidates for manager. Appleton isn't the man to take us forward. A bold statement there, Mitchell.
What I would say is, I think we were all massively underwhelmed. I remember we did the podcast when Appleton was announced as manager. We were all sort of, we tried to be a bit upbeat, but nobody was really enthused. Where he's actually grown on me since the team started to play football. I think the problem that he's doing at the moment is he's got too many players. If he's going to play the system he wants to play, he's got too many players who don't fit the system. And I think the problem that the board are going to come across is, I think he's going to want to ship a lot of players out. Now, he won't be able to do it all this window, and he's going to maybe have to do it in the next window, the window after that. But I think a lot of these players don't suit the way he wants to play. So we're going to be in transition for quite a long time, I think, because most certainly the Critchley way of playing isn't the Appleton way of playing. But I actually prefer the Appleton way of playing to watch, if that makes sense. So to deal with Mitchell's observation, I think the jury's out, but I'm not sure it's right to say that Appleton isn't the man to take us forward. I think actually he's clearly impressed the board when he's interviewed, and while I couldn't see it at the time, I could possibly see now why. Because I think I think he wants to play a very positive way, and I don't think he minces his words. And I like a manager who doesn't mince his words.
So, I think we need to give him at least half a season, 3 to 4 months before you can pass any kind of judgment on a new manager. I think, you're a bit harsh there, Mitchell. This username is the Tangerine Bastard. Sure his mother didn't christen him that.
I like his moniker. What's that?
Or her. Looks like Frank Sidebottom. God knows what that is.
Like a tangerine Frank Sidebottom. Every credit.
Some people have got far too much time on their hands. Anyway, the TB said, Virtue looked well off it today. Dougal needs to start for me. Needs some experience of physicality in the middle of the park. Stoke bullied us today. Nick, common theme throughout a lot of comments.
Yeah, couldn't really disagree with it. Whether it's Dougal or, as we've said, depending on if Gabriel's back, possibly you'd put Connolly in there. But we certainly do need somebody to do that physical side of the game in the centre of the park. And Stoke did bully us. Absolutely, yeah. From first whistle to the last, they did. Yeah, can't disagree.
Well, you can take the next one. It's like a lucky dip in the school fair. This, what's going to come next? Press the right button. Oh, it's from Mitch. Away for both games, but everyone loves a stat. With Gaz on the pitch, to use the acronym that he has clearly just created, WGOTP. That's with Gaz on the pitch. 1 goal scored, 0 goals conceded, +1. Without Gaz on the pitch, W/OGOTP, 0 goals scored, 2 conceded. Can't see Virtue last as a midfield anchor, even without seeing the games. It feels wrong. A man after your own heart there, Leon. And you've muted. Oh, hang on a minute. Sorry. Lost you for a sec. There you go. Sorry.
Yeah, and to be fair, I very rarely disagree with him. He's always bob on. Yeah, I agree. I love his little shorthand with his little brackets. But yeah, I'm trying to remember when I have disagreed with Matt in the past, and I don't think I have. We agree on quite a lot. So yeah, he's right. Yeah, I do agree with the Virtue thing as well. He's good.
He's not midfield anchor, is he? He's just not. Is he League One? Because I think A common theme I've been reading is there's far too many players in this current squad at a League One level.
Yeah, I do agree with that. I think we definitely need. I'd have said at the start of the window, we're probably looking for about 7 new players. What have we got? 3 loans and 1 perm. I'm all for loan players, but then it's just the end of the season when you fall in love with them and they've got to go back, and it's just
You've got to rebuild again, haven't you? If you have too many.
Yeah, so we definitely need a few more.
It's the reality of this day and age, though, isn't it? You know, look at Forest. You look at they did exceptionally well with their loan signings, didn't they, last season? And I think most teams have a sprinkling of them. I think 3 is about the right number, to be honest. I think probably last season, I think if there was a frustration, it was that we didn't really bring in the Patino style player, the Dewsbury Hall of a couple of seasons ago, who could do something that others aren't able to do in midfield. And probably if we're looking at if we're going to recruit anybody else, I'm not completely convinced by the Wolves lad yet, but I think if we were to try and find anybody, it would be somebody who can score a few more goals than our current 4 strikers can probably score between them. We need somebody who can hit the back of the net and on a regular basis. And Medin's good at holding the line. Yates is good with his little flicks and 1-2s with Bowler, but nobody's scoring on a regular basis, and that's concerning because I think at the end of the season we will need somebody this year who's going to get 15, heading towards 20, and I don't see any of the current lot doing it.
Tim, next one from you. Dino said, not good enough. Stick to what we know, and that's 4-4-2. A man after my own heart, Dino. Well said. Between our midfield 3, we won't have played 25 games this season. Very experienced midfield. He's saying too soft and no experience. Not keen on all these loan signings. Have to build up the squad when we lose them next summer. What we've just said, Nick, your thoughts on that comment? Basically reiterating what we've just said.
Yeah, I don't mind loan players, and if you can, particularly with somebody like Patino, it's somebody who otherwise you wouldn't, you'd have no chance of signing a player like that permanently, would you? So it's great to have a player like that and like 2 or 3 loans, but you need to also have your permanent players, so you're not doing the complete rebuild every time in the summer. And like I said before, I just wonder what's going to happen with Bowler, because if he does go, he can be frustrating, but the facts are we look more likely to do something when he's on the pitch than not. And like on Saturday, we were poor, but he had our best chance with that dribble and shot just wide of the post. If he goes, it's who we get in to replace him. Yeah, is it going to be will it be a lone player to replace him? I mean, hopefully he doesn't go at like 1:45 on the last day of the window, and we can't get anybody in. But as for the 4-4-2, we've just said I don't think he's ever going to play that, Appleton, is he? And he wants to get the players in to suit his formation, and I think at the moment there's probably quite a few who don't, which is why we're going to see probably a few move on in the next week or 2.
I think he's going to crash. I think he's either going to succeed or crash and burn quite spectacularly.
I think Sean said in the chat, didn't he? There'll be no middle ground. It's do it his way and get his players in, or we might.
It'd be quite interesting because I don't think either Ben Mansford or Simon they are both individually and collectively, quite forceful individuals as well, and there could be fireworks, couldn't there? I mean, it's interesting to see we're in for. And his name escapes me because I know it's double-barreled. We're in for the Sheffield Wednesday player again. We're in for it on the season, aren't we? And apparently the offer we've made is just short of £1 million. So the board are clearly prepared to spend a bit of money as well. It's not necessarily all loans, but I think it's about if you're going to spend that type of money as Blackpool, it's got to be spent right, hasn't it? We haven't got £5 or £10 million to start throwing around. So, when we've spent reasonable money in the past, we've bought DJ Campbell, who we already knew and had already been with us. When we bought Charlie Adam in, he'd already been with us and we knew what we were getting. There's always an element of uncertainty when you bring somebody in completely from the outside as to whether they are going to hit the ground running or whether you could end up with a Chris Malkin on your hands. So I think the club and the board have to be sensible about who, they obviously clearly wanted Brannigan. They seem to be quite keen on the lad.
Oh, let's not mention him again, Tim.
No, but what I mean is
we're not mentioning that name.
I mention it from the point of view is they're prepared to put the money on the table for the right player that they want. But I think those players are few and far between. They were prepared to do it with Ellis Sims. Obviously, he's gone to play up at the Stadium of Light, and you can understand. I think the worst thing we ever did was getting Embleton here because I think he's persuaded all the Blackpool loan players from that season to go to Sunderland or come to us. But yeah, so I think they will back Appleton, and I actually think we'll get a permanent in before the end of the loan window.
I think we definitely need a high quality permanent signing, or the natives will be questioning where's the Critch money gone, much like they were questioning where the Ormerod money went, which we all know was buried under the Centre of Excellence.
I never knew about that,
What you
I thought Matt Grafton
had...
Honestly, when Matt Grafton put it up a bit ago and he spelt it, he didn't put the picture up, he just spelt it wrong. And I was like, do you know that's a typo? I'm like with grammar.
You didn't.
Honestly, I didn't know. I had no idea. I was like, why is a journalist spelling that wrong? That's like so weird. And then someone showed me the picture. I was like, oh, didn't know.
And you don't know who took the picture, do you, Liam?
Was it your son?
No, it was Tim.
To be
fair, it was a shit picture, so it's probably you and not Sam.
I took Casper's Varpins on. This story's been told already, but
he doesn't like to talk about it.
But I bet he doesn't. I can tell.
And I said, "Oh, you're into the training ground." So this is back when doing the boycott bit, and I took him down there, and he took the picture, not me.
Was it you really going to watch them train?
Being a geek, no, it wasn't.
So
I used to go watch them train when I was younger.
Yeah, I did as well. Yeah,
I lived on Westgate, just behind Squaresgate.
Oh, did you?
The training ground, yeah. Excuse me. So I used to climb over this fence, stand there in the rain with my scrapbook, getting all the players and Billy Eyre to sign it. What a loser.
Not a bad place to live if you want to be a loser, though, is it?
Well, no, it was all right.
Right next to the training ground. That's quality.
I'd like it now, to be fair.
I beg your pardon, Tim. I was from that area as well, just round the corner.
Where did you live?
Podcast were from around there.
Yeah, we did.
We started on there, yeah.
Yeah, the podcast was born around the corner, Kidbrook Avenue.
And then you moved to Principality, and you've never looked back.
No, that's right. Got this hanger on down the road. I can't seem to shake off, but hey ho. Let's get these. Yeah, that's it. Right, Josh Melling. Josh is in the comments this evening. Normally says a lot of sensible things said. Leanne, this one's to you. Not to you, but you can address it. One positive is that Patino chant is good. Struggling to find much else. We're better start of second. What? We're better start of second half.
I think he means were.
I think it means we were. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Oh, yeah, one for you. He's basically saying we were better when Dougal came on.
I know, that's why I rolled my eyes when you said Leanne, one for you, because I spotted the word Dougal straight away.
Were you like, oh, fuck's sake?
I don't hate Dougal.
How would you respond to that one?
Right, okay. Personally, I'd probably start Dougal. Because then if he is having a bit of a shocker, we can sub him. But I don't hate him. I do like him. I can't stress that enough.
The reverse likes are coming on Leon's square.
Well, she's listened to to be fair to her, she's listened to the arguments and she's been taught around, which is great.
Not at all. I think you talk shit. No, I'm willing to listen to people. Like I said, I've had a conversation before and they explain the whole sort of the old scenario, and I don't mind him. I just find more rubbish than positive with him sometimes. Like, I want him to do well. Obviously, he's playing for my team. I want him to do well. I want him to score 2 goals every bloody week. I would probably start him. I do agree. I think Josh has made some good comments tonight. I would probably start him.
He's a good contributor, Josh. So if he wants to come on, tap me a
And
holler.
if
Next.
he's rubbish, we take him off.
Yeah, he can be blackballed. Anthony Summers, Nick, tend to judge them at the end of the season before writing them off on social media. Stops you looking like a knobhead. Not you, Nick. I think he's just making a general comment.
I think.
Go on.
Yeah, I think there was the usual meltdown, wasn't there, after the Stoke game, with people deciding that was that, and not everybody, you know.
On
it's
Twitter,
probably
really?
Yeah, fancy that. It's
Weird,
a minority, isn't it?
Normally
And
so full of joy.
People have made their mind up on the manager and the team, and it just kind of gives them a chance to reinforce what they think. But end of the season, or certainly, like Tim just said, he needs at least one transfer window, if not 2, for it to be his team. And then we'll see where we're at. And I think it's fair comment. You've got to give any manager time, and certainly one who is changing the style of play and needs the right players to do that. You know, we're going to be very different than we were under Critch, and it's took them a while to get used to playing the way Critch wanted to do, and now it's changing again. And it's happened quite suddenly, hasn't it? Because he disappeared off to put Combs out at Aston Villa. So you've got to give him chance. You've got to give him chance.
And then lose to Bournemouth.
Yeah, it's great, isn't it, that we've got now got a new team to follow. In my FOTMOB app, I follow.
I hate.
I follow. I've got us in. I've got PNE. I've got Oxford in because my mates are not big Oxford fan. I always rip the piss out of him whenever they lose, and I've now got Aston Villa, and I love it. I love it when they lose. Love it. Right, let's do one more and then we'll call it a day. Athers, what a man to land to
Hang
end
on, I need an hour to read it.
I believe there may be fireworks when you and Athers are on together, Leanne, but we'll leave that for another.
Yeah, we don't agree a lot, me and others.
Tim, I'll let you respond to this one then. First half, very poor. The old half. Don't know what that means. The old half better.
I think he means second half, and it's a typo, isn't it?
Yeah, I see what you mean, Leanne. He's talking about a lot of bollocks, isn't he?
Always does. You'll realise.
2 lightweight midfield. I liked this bit. Men against very tiny, weedy boys.
Weedy boys. Sounds like my exes.
Next 5 weeks are big. We'll only panic if the squad is the same and if the window.
That's 4, John. 4.
If the window shuts, yeah. Oh, it was that guy who I was pulling up on his grammar. It was the Greek guy, wasn't it? Ref didn't cost us today, but oh boy, what an inept prick. Deconstruct that if you can, Tim.
Yeah, gosh, where do you start? We're looking at lightweight in midfield. I think we've sort of covered that in the observations we made already, haven't we? I think the Virtue, Carey, Fiorini just didn't work. 100% agree with others there. He's a man of my own heart. I presume they're the weedy boys he's talking about. So next 4 weeks are big. 100% agree with that. I think, and as I just said before, we're looking at hopefully at one decent loan maybe coming in, and one permanent. And that, I think if our recruitment at the end of the window includes 2 other players who are going to be seriously in around the first team, then I'm reasonably happy with our business because we've got a decent left back. Obviously, if we lose Bowler, then it might need to be 3. But if we keep Bowler, we've got a new left back. We get Gabriel back. We get Uncle Richard back, and we've got Grimmy in goals. We've got Patino playing with Dougal, water carrying for him, and we get a new centre forward so Medine can hang up his boots. Then I'll be a happy man.
You're a dick sometimes for a lawyer.
And on that note, I think we'll call it a day. Right, we're on an hour and a half. Doesn't time fly?
Get Tim dead smug now.
Yeah. Nice closing. It's like a closing statement in court,
Look
isn't
at
it,
him. He's
Tim?
proper pleased with himself, isn't he?
Yeah. And the judge.
Password.
And the judge
It's all right,
finds
Tim. I'll
against.
see you Saturday.
The judge finds against him, but he still gets his fee, and that's why Tim has always got a smile on his face. Right, thanks everybody for joining us this evening. Thanks, Leanne. Thanks for coming on. It was great to hear your input.
Thank you.
Finally, cheers, Nick. It's great to have you back on as well.
Pleasure. Thank you, everyone.
Thanks, Tim. You won't be getting a fee like you do with all your court cases. You might get Crazy Beer again, but who knows? Right, everybody, thanks for watching. Thanks for downloading.
Thank
and up the
you.
pool. Cheers, everybody.
Up the pool.
Up the pool.
Later.